What's going on, everyone? So, from season 3, episode 9, we got finally confirmation on how exactly Miranda died. For a long time, it was a mystery. We knew that she died. Victor relayed that he found her body outside of the faraway tree, but it was like, how did she jump in and fall like the Rock in season 1? Was she eaten by a monster? Did Christopher get to her? What ended up happening? And it turns out that it was the Smiley monster. Smiley ended up getting to Miranda, and she ultimately met her end. We also found out that she only went to where she went due to the boy in white relaying a story to Christopher and relaying that Christopher needed to be the one to go into the tree. And Christopher refused. Victor overheard the conversation and decided to go and tell his mother, and that ultimately led to her death. And you saw Victor kind of dealing with the aftermath, the consequences of remembering that moment that essentially, not directly, but indirectly ended up getting his mother killed. And he felt the guilt. He felt like, man, if I didn't tell my mother that story, she'd probably still be alive, right? She never would have done what she went to go do, and she never would have gotten eaten by Smiley, and all would have worked out, right? But here's the thing. Victor was responsible for Miranda's death. Again, not directly. He didn't know. He was just relaying information. But Victor was also a child. And children are very easily manipulated. Children are very easily influenced. And Victor, the problem is, has no real memory of the past. He doesn't know if he was good, if he was evil, right? You have what was led to believe originally that Christopher kind of went off the reservation, that Christopher went off the deep end and kind of became the bad guy. But did he? Right? He didn't trust the boy in white to go do what needed to be done, but can you really blame him for that? He doesn't know. He's living in this place with a bunch of monsters and some ghost just pops up and tells him, hey, I'm Casper, and you need to go into a tree that could get you killed and go on a mission to save the boy. He's probably like, yeah, hard pass, right? I don't really blame him for not that. Again, obviously we don't know every detail. We just know what Victor is kind of unraveling from his memories, but you see all the mementos. You see all the keepsakes. We've all seen Sarah and, kill somebody and keep a keepsake. We've seen others, and that's usually a typical trend by killers and stuff like that, right? You kill somebody, you keep a souvenir, so to speak. Now, I don't necessarily know if Victor was evil deliberately, right? Was Victor this just Damien level kid, or the have you ever seen The Good Son? That classic movie with, who is it, Macaulay Culkin, and I don't remember who the other kid was. But you have this evil kid who just purposely was getting everyone killed and whatnot. I don't know if it was necessarily that, but I could see that a child being here in this place, you could imagine how easy it would be to manipulate that child. And we saw Sarah, for example, be essentially manipulated. We have seen several characters being manipulated. Currently, Elgin is being manipulated, right? So it's one of those things where, is it possible that Victor, as a child, may have been purposely fed information, or may have heard things or seen things and whatnot, right? The boy in white in him really built and established a relationship after everybody died. So what we found out. It did, as far as we know, they didn't have a relationship prior to that, right? So who's to say that FROMVILLE and what was going on with FROMVILLE didn't manipulate him to a point where, what if he was responsible for the death of everybody in the town, right? I'm not saying that he went around and killed everybody, right? But who's to say that he didn't kind of cause the effect, right? Also, real quick side note, it just popped in my head who the other kid was. It was Elijah Wood. right? Wasn't that who it was? It was Elijah Wood and Macaulay Culkin. If you've already left a comment on who it was, I appreciate you. But yeah, I was just thinking, I was going to scream it out in the middle of my rant there a moment ago, but I was like, let me finish my thought. And then I was like, oh, yeah, there we go. So it was Elijah Wood and Macaulay Culkin. It was the Good Son. But back on track. Sorry, just something that popped in my head. But, like, again, I don't think Victor is this bad guy. I even think it's possible that everything has happened because of Victor. I think that's a real possibility, that maybe this entire place is from his mind and whatnot. There was an episode, my favorite show ever. I've talked about this if you're familiar with me and my channel. Supernatural. I love the show Supernatural. And there was an episode where there was a guy who was essentially lost in his own mind. He was in a coma, I believe. But he had, like, reality warping powers. And people were having, like, these cartoon, like Looney Tunes style deaths and all that stuff. And for those that, this was like season 12 or whatever. So, spoiler alert. But he didn't know that he was doing it. He was lost in his own mind. He thought he was living his best life. But he had this power, and it was kind of bleeding out. And he didn't know how to stop it. He didn't know how to control it. And he ultimately, decided the way to go out is to go out, if you know what I mean. Right? So what if it's something like that where, Victor, maybe he's not even aware, right? He was a child. He was a little boy. He didn't know. He doesn't know what's going on. His mother has like these visions and stuff. And, what if he created this place based on his mother's visions? Right? You don't think that he didn't see the paintings and the designs and the drawings and all that stuff? You don't think that he didn't hear the rants? I mean, he obviously is a nosy little kid because he's like, sneaking down the cellar, listening to the boy in white talk to Christopher and stuff, right? So who's to say that he didn't do that, right? Like, we've already seen several things take place that were indirectly due to Victor. So who's to say that all of this isn't indirectly due to Victor, right? Like, I could see Victor, again, I don't necessarily know if he's like, I don't think he is the mastermind just behind the scenes, like, I tricked you all, I fooled you, right? I don't think it's anything like that. And I do think you're going to continue to see him kind of unpack and unravel his memories, right? Which I've talked about aren't very reliable. And, I mean, if you think about it, he could have gotten Tabitha killed, right? Because if Miranda wasn't meant to go through the tunnels or go through the bottle tree, chances are Tabitha wasn't either. If it was Jade, then it was probably, or if it was Christopher, then it was probably Jade, right? So Victor told Tabitha what and led her to the tree and told her the story of her mother that turned out it wasn't even true. So Victor could have easily gotten Tabitha killed and indirectly been the cause of that. So again, I really do think we're going to start peeling back some of the memories here. And I wouldn't be shocked if we find out that there's more kind of indirect ways that Victor ended up killing and hurting people. And it wasn't something that he necessarily meant to do. But again, it's FROMVILLE. It's very easy to manipulate people in this place. We've seen it with grown adults. You don't think that a child wouldn't be able to be manipulated? And this was before the talismans. This was before a lot of the things that they have that's protection now. Right? Like, Victor kind of was just this sitting duck in a lot of ways. It would kind of make sense that, hey, like maybe we can kind of get to him. Maybe we can kind of influence him. Maybe we can kind of manipulate him a little bit, right? Maybe we can kind of get into his head and have him do things, right? Especially, even now he's very childlike. But it also seems like he's kind of, I've talked about this before, I think he's off limits because of the boy in white. I think the boy in white has made him off limits. I mean, the big, I had my assumptions on that, dating back to season 2, but the kind of confirmation for me was when he and Henry went into the tunnels, and the monster was like, "You keep coming down here, we might have to make you stay," right? Like, they had him dead to rights. If not Victor probably could have escaped because he knows his way around the tunnels and he knows, like, they're not going to chase after him. But Henry's probably a goner. And who knows where the rest of the monsters were. They could have easily trapped him and just, like, took him out, right? And, like, there have been times, like I said, like when Colony House gets attacked, I don't think Victor was trying to get himself out. Like, he was more worried about getting Julie out. And went and helped Julie. Julie was running the other way. He could have just been like, all right, peace out. But no, he went and everything was like to help Julie. He also like spent the day in the tunnels with all the monsters because the boy in white told him that Tabitha was going to fall through the hole and be there and he needed to help her. Right? Like, the dude, like, he seems completely fearless. He doesn't seem scared of anybody or anything. Like, it's just the memories is what he's afraid of. Right? But every time he starts unraveling a memory, it's something dark. It's something evil. Right? Like, and again, it's not him directly, but it's kind of like, indirectly. I just feel like I've said indirectly like 15 times in this video. But nonetheless, I get my points. And as always, this is a discussion, and I pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think that, clearly, Victor... There's something to Victor. Victor is the cause of a lot of things. Do you think, no way, Victor, he's innocent. He just, he's just trying to unravel, kind of bring up the past. Like I said, I don't think he's like this big mastermind, right? I mean, it's very possible. I don't rule it out. Like, I don't want to make it seem like that's not a possibility. That's definitely a possibility. But I just think based on like his character and the way they've kind of built him, I don't think that that's the route. But I could see him, again, being the one that caused a bunch of deaths by just, again, being a kid that doesn't know any better. Right? So, anyway, again, I would feel whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it, because as always, I pass a question on you. What do you think? How do you feel? Whatever it is, let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.